Oh, yeah, baby. It is
Looking
Epic
good.
Cash Friday. It is October 8th. And I'm just going to go ahead and call it, man. It's a wow Friday. And take a look at this chart here. Okay. Let's just kind of look at this chart, and just took a screenshot of this earlier. I've been telling people ever since, it was like 24 cents. I'm like, this is a gift, everyone. This is a gift. And then I reinforced, I'm like, when it started bumping up against 40 cents, I'm like, folks, this is a gift. This is a gift. There's lots of good things happening just around the corner. And then it goes over 50 cents and 55 cents. And I'm like, man, I think, anything you can get under 50 cents is a gift. So just watch that dip if you want. Then it goes to 60 and 70. And this morning it hit over 80 cents. And I think it actually went up to 91 cents, I believe. So I'm just going to say it again, guys. One day you're going to look back and say, I had an opportunity to buy Epic Cash under $1, and people will they'll say, you're kidding. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing this screen. I want to welcome our good friend Enrique, and I have Max Freeman, founder of Epic Cash, on the line as well. And I just we're going to open up every Friday with this chart. And Enrique, why don't you tell people, not everybody is going to know what this is. So please just take a second to describe what you did. And let's see, where the conversation goes.
All right, no problem. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
The chart we have here is a hypothetical portfolio that I started on September 3rd, 2021. The concept of this is that I put $1,000 in each of the top 15 coins by market cap on September 3rd. So you'll see that we have Luna, Sol, BTC, Polkadot, Litecoin, Matic, and so on and so on. And $1,000 into Epic. So on the first column, you have the coin symbols. And then on the second column, you have the price per coin on September 3rd, 2021. So you'll see Epic was trading at 32 cents, Luna at $32, Solana at 142, BTC was at 49,000, and you can look at the rest. And on the third column, you can see the number of coins that you would have been able to buy with $1,000 on that date with those prices. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can expand the image.
Oh,
on the next, yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, am I not showing this?
It's cut halfway, but that's all right. I got it here.
Oh, hold on 1 second.
Yeah, you can only see half of the fourth column.
I'm sorry. Let me, does this,
no problem.
It's not even showing up as, okay, let me just stop share here real quick and do a share screen again. And how's that? Is that better?
That's perfect.
I'm sorry.
All right, so no problem. Error. So on the fourth column, we have the price per coin today from a snapshot that was taken at 11:15 a.m.
And you're going to do that every week to keep things fair. 11:15 a.m. is the snapshot. So every Friday, those of you Epic holders who are just want to keep track, we invite you to come here every Friday at noon for Epic Cash Live.
Yeah, a side note on that. Last week it was 11:45 a.m., but I'd rather do it at 11:15 because of my time. So it's better that way. So we're going to do it at 11:15 a.m. every Friday. Perfect. And do the comparison. So this Friday, as you can see, Epic was trading at 81 cents, Luna at 45, Solana $167, BTC, which had a nice pump over the week, 54,667, and Polkadot at $33. And you can see the rest. The ones that are in green are the ones that have made positive gains, and the ones that are in red are ones that are underwater still. So you can see in the next column, in the fifth one, that says total portfolio value in US dollars on October 8th, 2021. So here's what you have with the $1,000 you would have invested on September 3rd. If you would have put it into Epic, today your portfolio would be worth $2,542. With Luna, it would be 1,369, and so on and so on. As you can see, there's only 5 cryptocurrencies which are in the green, and the rest are negative. And then in the last column, you can see the portfolio value percentage increase from September 3rd to today. And well, it's pretty clear, you know, Epic has been doing epically, or I don't know if that's the word, but it's epic.
It's been an epic month, man.
Yeah, it's been a great month. And I know, like, you know, because of liquidity or short-term price action, a lot of people don't, you know, they don't like to look at price, but it is what it is. $1,000 invested on September 3rd has increased 154% in Epic. And then it's followed by Luna, which is 36.98%, Solana 18, BTC 10, and you can see the rest. Most have taken quite a hit, but Epic has clearly outperformed the rest of them. And
well,
so,
you know,
the proof is in the pudding, and well, there you have it. We're going to do this every Friday, and we'll see where we are by the end of the year.
Yeah, it's really exciting, really exciting. Max Freeman, good morning. How are you?
It's an epic morning.
It is an epic morning. I have been so darn excited this week. It just has seemed like momentum breeds momentum, and there's just, whether it's from the chats in Telegram, t.me/epic cash will get you started. If you have any subjects of interest, if you just start there, we can point you in different directions. But it's just been so much energy in there this week, and it's been so encouraging. I couldn't wait for this show. I woke up this morning and I'm like, you know, because I think yesterday Epic was like in the 60s, and I was just feeling really good about that. And I look at my coin market cap and I'm like, WTF? And I was like, wow. So I went to the volume, and I'm seeing the volume that's picking up. So it means it isn't just, you know, some people who can go in and just gobble a bunch up. No, there's a lot of people who are buying Epic Cash, and that motivates me. But that's not the full story. The full story is, as we approach $1, the full story is what hasn't happened yet and what's going to happen this month. And so I know, Max, you want to talk about V3 having ECR LP incentives on WAN swap, E1 progress, and then I'm gonna ask you for a fifth one, which is a little ECR explanation that we talked before the call. So do you want to take on V3?
Absolutely. So those of us who've been around a while remember when Windows 98 came out, and it was really a big deal. If you had to fight with the earlier DOS terminals, it was not as user-friendly an experience. And so Windows 98 was itself a breakthrough product for Microsoft, but more than that, it set the stage for Windows 2000, which really knocked it out of the park. And so our equivalent of that is this V3 milestone, where there's just simply a lot of things that we want to do that we can't do or couldn't do, but without V3. And so this really represents the biggest release in our history. And it's small things like not having to open router ports or mess around with ngrok, which facilitates exchange integrations, being able to send Epic through a normal address type situation rather than an interactive multi-step process. increased privacy. You can run a node through Tor, payment proofs to be able to build tools to, for example, do accounting integration with your wallet data without having to offer spend power to it. So there's just all kinds of stuff from the nitty gritty to the big picture that come with this. And what I'm most proud of is the way that we went about it. In the end, the code turned out to be flawless. And so in retrospect, I guess we could have shipped it sooner, but we wouldn't have had that comfort level that came from doing the exhaustive quality control process
Max,
that we did.
Can I insert here just to ground that? That meant, I mean, there were several in our camp that just kind of wanted to pull the trigger and release it because so many good things could happen. But instead, the community raised some money to be able to do a third-party audit. So when you hear things like over in the TCV groups and such, or any kind of challenge, I think to R or whatever, that, hey, you got to have a third-party audit. Well, we went ahead and did that, went through the process. And yesterday was the final results. And I would say it's kid tested, mother approved, right, Max?
Yeah, it's I mean, Pool Boy is a beast. We know he knows his stuff, but humans are fallible, and it's easy to overlook things. And we are forever chastened by our experience in March with the value overflow incident, because one of the biggest advantages of these type of blockchains is their 100% uptime availability. Nobody's ever supposed to not be able to use it. And we actually did have an outage. And so BTC hasn't had an outage since 2010 when they had an equivalent thing happened. And so knock on wood, we think we're going to have that same track record as well.
Excellent. Yeah. So these outages or whatever, that just means that somebody smart out there went in attack mode and they just challenged the chain, I guess, so to speak. And so we're not unique to the value overthrow incident. It happened to BTC in 2010. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think maybe it happened a couple of different times to Ethereum.
So Ethereum has critical problems on a regular basis, not exactly this same type of thing, but it is culturally acceptable in Ethereum to have hiccups and oopsies. It's kind of baked in, just like Walmart knows that people are going to drop jars of pickles on the floor once in a while. It just happens. We've decided to commit ourselves to a rock solid path modeled after BTC, because Epic is intended as a direct stand-in for that. So there's a place for move fast and break things, and to be on the forward edge of innovation. And in our world, that's going to take place in a network called ECK, where it's our creative sandbox playground to throw a little chaos in the mix and be able to safely experiment. And the things that make the cut will end up finding their way into Epic after having been safely battle tested and really put through the ringer in a way that we couldn't with a simple test net alone.
Mm-hmm. Now you're talking to somebody who, as a newbie in the beginning of my Epic adventure, became a little, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. I was just, the Vite wallet just kind of overwhelmed me. So I kind of was like a deer in headlights. I stand before you today saying, I love it. I figured it out. I love it. It makes so much sense to me. You just have to know to hit POW whenever you see it. Yeah, you have to figure out a couple of things. But once you get the hang of it, it is a great wallet. It's a fun wallet. But I know that we are working on our own wallet, or a wallet, as you say. There's going to be many wallets out there, but there's one that that you have relied on the resource of a gentleman who has forgotten more about creating great UI experiences in wallets than certainly I'll ever know. But can you speak to that, about how V3 unlocks that? And, you know, I know you can't commit to a time frame, but it's just something also to look forward to.
Yeah, so the special talent in question is Diego Salazar, who up until very recently was a part of the Monero core team. He separated from them a few months ago, and he's actually been working with us for quite some time, at least a year, maybe more. He works with Firo. Obviously, Monero has been a big part of his journey, and I believe other open source projects as well. So what he did was actually download and install and painstakingly go through, I think it was 25 different money apps, not just crypto, but into banking, people like Blvd and Zelle, their type services, and Venmo and Cash App, and really everything out there, to take a broad view of well, what is this about? It's not just about seed words and addresses and technical stuff. It's about people connecting to each other through the exchange of value. And so I think it's wonderful and beautiful, and I think people will too. And I think the consensus opinion will end up being that, well, it wasn't as fast as we like, but it sure was worth the wait. And so what's coming, we're thinking about calling that the Epicentric wallet. And so the first pass will just be Epic, but then as we enhance it, the obvious next things to include are ECR, the various network forms of EUSD. It's on ECR is on 3 layer 2s right now, so everything that applies to ECR will plug EUSD in there as well. So making it a multi-asset wallet, and then that sets the stage to be able to swap between them in a non-custodial, permissionless, and trustless way. So essentially the Vite tech that works so well, once you get the hang of it, imagine that backend plugged into a beautiful, easy to use front end. It could be a very powerful combination. So that's a sneak peek at what we've been working on for a long time.
Would you be able to trade within that wallet? Like if I want to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So it'll be kind of like a Vite exchange almost.
Yeah, not V1, but that's common. I mean, we got to walk before we run.
Sure.
And so we're gonna make it gorgeous and bulletproof and as just easy and convenient as possible. We want people sending lots of transactions. I mean, there's no reason if you split lunch with a friend that you wouldn't reach for this first, rather than making it a special thing that involves lots of explaining and so on. The fact of the matter is these other services have a point of friction in terms of the identity and the KYC stuff you have to provide and the hoops they make you jump through. And this is just software install, boom, you're done. And so over time, we can really dial that in and bring it all together.
Just
Awesome.
gonna tell you,
I'm gonna interrupt you for a second. Yoga is here, so
Yoga's here. Let me
let
admit
him
it.
in. Yeah,
Let me admit Yoga. Zoom dude. Yoga dude.
there we go.
Morning. Morning, Yoga. He'll be in shortly.
Yep.
Well, anyway, Max, I was going to share it. Hey, Yoga. Good morning. I was just going to share with you, if anyone's, thinking mid-October special, my birthday is on October 12th, Columbus Day, baby. And I just want to go on record right now saying that a year from today, we're going to be having this show, this Friday's show, a year from today. And I'm just telling you, I cannot wait to... I'm going to mark this on my calendar, and I'm going to go back and watch this show before we do next year's show. And I'll probably pull from some clips from it, pricing of Epic, just where we were. Did we have a wallet? We hadn't even really had E3 launch. I'm going to talk about all of that stuff, and for kind of a 1-year happy birthday anniversary. What do you guys think of that?
Dig it.
Cool. Well, Yoga, we've kind of what we're going through here. Where is it? Is we went through Enrique's pricing and
Yeah. I was watching you
Okay,
guys.
okay,
I was
cool.
scrambling with my camera.
Sure.
So.
Okay, so you know what we're talking about. So V3 having ECR LP incentives on when, blah blah, and E1 progress ECR explanation. We didn't have a chance to converse with you prior because you were knee
Running
deep.
around. Yep.
Is there anything on your mind that you want to insert into the discussion today?
Oh goodness. Yeah, actually it's a bit of a tangent, but we're talking about crypto and we're talking about how, Epic is doing well and we're getting some recognition and long overdue recognition for our community. I had a couple of interesting conversations with some folks yesterday that are not from the crypto world. We're always immersed in our crypto world and we're, kind of after a while we get a little jaded, and we start talking about, with sort of terms like, privacy and with sort of terms like fungibility and, some people understand them and some people think that they have more of one than the other. And I was talking to the folks who are kind of crypto curious, I would say. They're no coiners, but they're high value individuals. And I was talking to them about just polling them, what are their thoughts on, diversifying into crypto. And, I heard not too long ago, I heard an interesting argument of one of the Bitcoin maximalists, trying to convince investors to diversify from gold. And their pitch was, I thought was actually elegant and interesting, that when you have something that's an old commodity, in today's market conditions, the value of Bitcoin is likely to go 10x more than the value of gold. Kind of let that percolate through your head. Okay, so gold is kind of,
say that one more time.
So gold is a tried and true commodity, right?
Yeah.
So the argument from the Bitcoin maxis today is that Bitcoin is more likely to go 10x than gold.
Got it. Yep.
Okay. And their pitch was essentially like, look, put like 1%, 2% of your net worth into Bitcoin as a diversification technique.
Mm-hmm.
Again, can't really argue, right? It sounds interesting in principle. And when we talk about Epic and we're talking about that similar incremental advantage, and we're saying, well, all things considered, Bitcoin is 11-year-old tech, objectively speaking, right? I mean, it is. It's actually 13-year-old tech. It's from 2008. Okay, so but it's over a decade, one way or the other, but then people get really defensive on the Bitcoin camp, when you say, well, all things considered, Epic is private, Epic is fungible, Epic is lightweight, Epic is, well, it's current tech. The best they can come up with, because they do acknowledge that it's a threat, they realize that Epic is a threat technologically. And we talk about, it's a non-cannibalizing market, and they are aware that, some cannibalization is inevitable. People will go and put more money on a better horse, So then their defense is to try and beat down the argument by saying like, well, if your tech doesn't suck, Bitcoin can integrate it on a layer 2 technology, because as some guy very animatedly said, did you know that there are layers?
It's really cool.
There are layers. Okay.
You should check it out.
Yeah, so yeah, and we checked it out, and and the thing with that is, look,
it's called the Lightning Network, right?
Right. Yeah. The fastest way to convert to acquire tainted Bitcoin is the Lightning Network. Yes. The cheapest and the fastest way to acquire tainted Bitcoin is the Lightning Network.
If you want to sell me tainted the Bitcoin at a discount, I know.
But again, I didn't come here to bash. My point was, I was talking to a person, to actually a couple of people, okay, who are bright guys, and they're just, again, they're crypto curious. And they've been listening to all these guys pumping their tech and, talking about how Bitcoin is awesome, and whatever Bitcoin doesn't do, it'll add it in layers later, because there are layers. And the question, the analogy, I kind of went back to kind of a Kepler's method of thinking, and I tried to present some analogies. And I said, look, I like horses. Okay, I think horses are pretty cool and pretty neat, and humanity got along with using horses for transportation and carrying things pretty well, over the centuries and millennia. But no matter how much I like horses, there's only so much I can do. And when a next innovation came out, like a Model T Ford, you couldn't really take a Ford engine and stick it in a horse to make your favorite horse faster. Okay, there's a certain point where you have to kind of let go and transition to the next level. And by the way, I also like, antique American cars, and I think they're pretty cool. And but again, no matter how much I like those cars, they came out in the 60s. I'm especially partial to that particular era in American vehicles when gasoline was cheap and people were building tanks on the road. You can't take a Tesla motor and Tesla autopilot and cram that into a 57 Chevy. You just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So innovation on layer 2 is really limited because you're basically kludging and you're trying to compensate for the deficiencies in the original design.
Can I just share something with everyone that I think is going to ground what you're saying, because you created this and I thought it was brilliant. For me, why don't you walk us through this? Because this, to me, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and you added some words to it that made it even more clear. But walk through this, because this just says it all.
Yeah. So exactly this is that Satoshi created a crypto in 2008 using 2008 tech and vision, and he called it Bitcoin. And back then, the privacy wasn't as much of a concern, and they thought like the privacy was good enough, and and scalability, because people couldn't imagine. I remember I got into it I read about it in 2009. I got into it in 2011, and there weren't even use cases for it. So it was such a nascent, it was such a beginning of everything that none of those things that we're facing today that we consider today boringly obvious, none of those things were even considered back then. Okay. And a lot of the maxis are completely unaware of this, having come along in 2015 or 17 or even later. And somehow they became the experts on Bitcoin. But in 2014, if Satoshi was creating that crypto in 2014, because by that time we realized the problems with privacy, we realized, that was a huge glaring problem. Having learned from that, and he would have been using better technology, he would have probably created Monero. Okay. But Monero showed us that obfuscation is not really the ideal thing. And Monero went through a lot of trials and tribulations. And in fact, up until about 2017, Monero transactions were actually considerably less private than Monero community thought it was. So not realizing that, it was still getting very widespread use. But the thing of it is, it was good tech for that time. Now, if Satoshi was creating a crypto today, having learned from Bitcoin, having learned from Monero, and using today's technology, he would have probably gone with Mimblewimble technology because it's the most compact, while also offering reasonable privacy by not storing sender address, receiver address, and the amount. He would have probably created Epic Cash today. That's it. I mean, that's really it. And it's not we're not knocking down the horse buggy. We're not knocking down the Model T or whatever, okay, because they were time appropriate for that time. But what we're talking about is a realization that today's world, today's level of technological accessibility and technological savviness, requires a much more advanced crypto. And today, Epic Cash is it. So that's it. I mean, that's kind of the illustration.
Yeah. So I want to just say it all at once here, just so that we can have a soundbite that somebody could cut if they want. But Satoshi created a crypto in 2008 using 2008 tech and vision and called it Bitcoin. If Satoshi was creating a crypto in 2014, having learned from Bitcoin and using better tech, it would have been Monero. If Satoshi was creating a crypto today, having learned from Bitcoin and Monero, using today's tech, it would have been Epic Cash.
That's it.
Mic drop. Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm going to stop screen sharing because there's one other thing I want to share, but go ahead and wrap that up.
Okay. So what I want to wrap up is this. So when I was talking to my crypto curious friends about this, and Bitcoin definitely spent an inordinate amount of time on marketing and money on marketing, They were under a couple of delusions. One of the delusions was that Bitcoin was never hacked and that Bitcoin represents the most perfect coding thing ever. Okay.
Hold on just a second. Max, I think you need to mute because we can hear you doing all kinds of chores in the background or somebody.
Okay. So, so first there was this whole thing about how Bitcoin is perfect and it was never hacked. Okay. And that's kind of funny because Bitcoin hacked, and I believe it was 2008 with an incident where 188 billion Bitcoins were created, or 184 billion Bitcoins were created instantly in a currency that's supposed to be capped at 21 million.
Wait, say that again.
Bitcoin had an incident where in the very beginning, in the early days, in like 2010, okay, where a value overflow or something similar, okay, where an exploit was used to create 184 billion Bitcoins.
Wow.
And they had to do a rollback, that, you know, they had to do a patch, a rollback, you know, and fix it and get it back on track. And I'm not saying that it's good or bad. Okay. Software has bugs, period. Any software. Okay. But what I'm saying is there are a bunch of these inconvenient truths that Bitcoin peddlers emit. Okay. And that's one. The second one,
it's unassailable and has never been assailed, and
right,
and that's just wrong. That's
right. And the second one that I thought was interesting was I was telling my friend, I said, you know, he said, yeah, you know, I was thinking about just downloading the blockchain, the original Bitcoin wallet, you know, and you know, synchronizing 350 gigs on my hard drive to just buy some Bitcoin and store it locally because, you know, not your wallet, not your keys, you know, not your keys, not your money, whatever. And I told him, I said, you do realize that when it's in your wallet and you give any Bitcoin to anybody, they know how much you have. They know where you got it from. They know from that day on all of your moves, because all they have to do is look at Blockchain Explorer and you can see all of your holdings, all of your, and he was like, wait, but they say it's private. I was like, well, no, it's not. And it's not fungible. And it's all, you know, it's super traceable. It's super trackable. And I said, and the other consequence of that is it's not unconfiscatable. In other words, you can have a, you know, let's say you have, God forbid, you know, you have a disagreement with your spouse, and your block that you have, that you own of Bitcoin is essentially flagged and it's undeniably yours, and, you know, and everybody can see it. Like you say, well, you know, I don't have it. Like, no, you do have it. It's still there, you know. If you have some tainted coin, let's say you bought some Bitcoin and it was tainted and you don't realize this, and you put it in a cold wallet because you're like, you read all these things and you put your keywords on a piece of paper and you hide it under a rock. Okay. And then a year later, you pull it out and you go to, you know, some exchange to convert it to cash. And then they tell you, well, no, this is like dirty coin. This is toxic. And you're like, what do you mean? It's been under a rock all this time. You know, it's been in cold storage. Like it's nobody, what are you talking about? It's toxic. You know, they're like, well, you know, it was used for a ransom payment or, you know, or whatever, you know, how did you get it? You know,
four hops back or 5 hops back or 6 hops back.
Or somebody just bought it at like a, you know, at like a local Starbucks, you know, or through the Lightning Network. Because that's layers,
really, it's really cool. You know, you should check it out.
Yeah. You know, so, and none of those things were ever communicated to these crypto curious people. So to me, like I question the intentions. I question this lack of full disclosure of.
Oh, come on.
Who benefits?
How can you question?
Because I've read books by Bitcoin maximalists, okay, and with every page, there's like more and more white elephants walking into the room of the stuff they don't talk about.
I know, but I'm telling you, when you are a Bitcoin maxi and your whole last decade has been all around being that evangelist, of course, they're going to kick anything that might assail it and mock it, which they have last Friday. And so to me, it's really crystal clear. To me, it's actually encouraging.
Yeah.
you know, and I bet you those same mockers, the Hodl family, I bet you that there have been some who've been buying Epic this week. I just have a sneaky suspicion. Might be wrong, but
Wouldn't be
we don't
surprised.
know because it's private.
Well, because one guy was saying like he wanted to buy all of it. I mean, he was like really set on buying all of it. So, you know, let's see how that plays out.
Yeah, Enrique is going to bless us with a full program dedicated to that. That what would happen to the price action if somebody went in like Hodl did and said, 5 million.
I'll put in $5 million right now
I'll-
and buy everything.
I'll
What
buy
would happen to the
everything.
price, and then
Yeah.
what would happen to his
There,
position?
there were a couple of interesting things, you know, like there are tech guys. There were tech guys. You know, one guy was just an influencer with like no tech background. The other guy was, you know, the Lair kid was like a volunteer on a lightning dev thing, fork, by the way. But yeah, the technical depth was lacking, and it was interesting because you know, just getting us muted and just talking over us and stuff was if somebody's platform is so secure and if they're so sure in their tech, why would people need to clown and behave like that, like children, you know, to try and come off as being right? Like, if you got nothing to hide. But I'm telling you, like that book, I mean, they're like herds of white elephants, okay, walking through like yeah, that's the one, man. I'm doing a review on that thing, you know, so stay tuned. That's going to be on Amazon, verified purchase. So I'm gonna lay down some truth on this thing, okay, and expose a couple of the white elephants, okay. But anyway, that's all I got. You know, my whole thing was, again, we're engaging with people today more and more and more that are new to crypto.
Yeah,
They're crypto
Yes.
curious. Okay, that is the biggest growing segment. You know, people who are just coming into crypto, who just heard about it. You know, a lot of the gamers are beginning to kind of take notice because we can be mined with gaming gear profitably. By the way, very profitably. You know, so I just want to make sure that those people have fair and honest knowledge base to reference. No bullshit. Okay.
Yeah.
Not everything is perfect. And let's talk about that, you know, in an honest and open way. You know, every technology has its shortcomings, every technology has its pluses and minuses. But to serve up Bitcoin as this unassailable paragon of technological achievement is a little silly. So anyway,
yeah.
that's it. That's all I got.
So thank you very much, Max. I want to ask you to walk through this. This is the first time I saw this morning, and I thought it was, and this is great. And I'm just going to tee it up first by saying that I'm a big fan of privacy coins, and all of these except Zcash I hold. And so this is just, I looked at this and I'm like, I wanted to put on my hat and say, come on, you did what Pricey did, you know, where they just leaned everything to where they led the witness. But this, I don't think so. So would you please walk us through this? Can you see that?
That would be my pleasure. Okay, there it is. All right, so the first one is whether all transactions are private. With Zcash, there's like convoluted shielding and unshielding and Z to T and T to Z and all this. And the proof of the pudding is in the eating, because less than 1%, the last time I checked, of transactions bother to use the privacy features. So I call Zcash a 1% privacy coin, because the other 99% is just BTC derived code. So all transactions are private on 3 of them, different ways of going about it, but nobody can see details about the transaction. The next one is whether you can mine it on a CPU. Monero deployed RandomX about a month after we did. I think it was maybe 2 months after, back in 2019. They are single algo, 100% of their blocks go to CPU, whereas we have only 60% currently of blocks going to CPU, which is good because it gives the equipment a chance to rest, and you can use it for other purposes, like studying as an example. So mined on GPU, same principle. You can't mine any of these coins on GPU, practically speaking. I mean, you can. I saw some poor guy in the pirate chat that said, hey guys, I ran my RTX 2060 for 45 days and I got 63 cents. And then somebody in the mining channel did the math and they could have had, I think, like 400 or 500 Epic coins during that same time or something. And again, only 38% of the time versus flat out.
Wow.
So education is expensive. Mined on mobile, that's something we've been pushing hard toward. It's possible now, but the devil's in the details to do it in a really seamless way. And also people with heavy duty servers would take the rewards away from cell phones. So we need to use a different algorithm version of RandomX called Random ARM. Mobile friendly, the Monero blockchain. The reason it's the blockchain is 100 gigs, so that's beyond the realm of what most cell phones can do to run a full node, but it's technically possible, and you can generate a transaction from mobile. But the ZK snarks that Pirate and Zcash use aren't as well suited to low power devices. And so I understand there's going to be some progress in that, or maybe already is, but historically that's been an issue. Trustless setup, the particular way that Zcash and by extension Pirate, which uses Zcash's tech, initialize their system, it requires trusting that the developers aren't doing anything funky. And I don't think there's even a question that they are, but for some people, that's an issue. And so Epic and Monero are able to cross that more stringent hurdle as well with a trustless setup process. Zcash is a company, or I should say, the network was created by a company called the Electric Coin Company that gets 20% of the block rewards and is instrumental, irreplaceable in the development and evolution of that network. And so, you know, it's not a pure protocol in terms of censorship resistance, because what if anything happened to those guys and anyone downstream of them, Pirate as well. But I mean, strictly on a securities law basis, there's a vulnerability on the Zcash front. And let's see here. It looks like that one. Oh, no, I got it. Hold on. I think this might be wrong. Let's X that one out of the edit. I'm gonna have to talk to Spencer on this because it looks like the versions got messed up. But there's a lot of different moving parts to regulator friendliness or lack thereof. Securities law is only one part. So let's punt on that one for now. The other three assets are simply standalone currencies. That is where they start and end. Epic is how would you put it? The endogenous scarcity unit within.
You just get out.
You got a phone call.
And this is that time every week where I promise to update my software.
It's like clockwork.
I wish I could say it was an isolated occurrence, but they want me to physically go to the store, and in order to do that, I have to jump through all the health hygiene theater hoops with respect to face diapers and stuff, and I simply refuse. So that's the story there. If you want to shop on a darknet market, there's a particular money of choice. Let's see. Oh yeah, HowieSafe. Zcash is not HowieSafe because it's a company. When we talked about regulator friendly earlier, basically Monero is in open war with powers that be. Pirate says, well, you guys are wussies. You shouldn't even dream of any compromise, Monero guys. We're going to take that to the next level. And Epic, we're kind of in the middle because EUSD enables us to get into those different market segments that value the transparency as a feature rather than a benefit. And so I think that gives us some flexibility in how to navigate these nuanced issues. under attack from the government. Monero, I think, is the target of a $3 million bounty. Last I checked, CipherTrace, it's really under the hot seat. Again, Epic is a coin that has privacy as a feature, whereas these other ones are privacy coins. So if users, whether it's founded or not, if users have concern to doubt the functionality that your whole sales reason is offering, then that could be a problem. We're not out there justifying our value on the basis of, hey, that you can do this and that with it. No, if you want 21 million and you want to run a full node on your mobile and you want to mine and this and that, then you get that. And it just so happens to have confidential transactions that result in a fungible currency and no tainted coins. So it's a different way of looking at it. Epic is quantum ready because we can slot in structured lattice algorithms. We're designed to slot in different algos should one become compromised, whereas that's major surgery for a single algo chain. Can sign a transaction on mobile. That's kind of a big deal. If you're into privacy and you're having to tunnel into a desktop to send a transaction, well, you're leaving a lot of traces there, may defeat the purpose of having a big sturdy wall in the front of your castle, but we'll leave that for another time. The elliptic curve cryptography is important because it enables things like atomic swaps and multisig. So there's a lot of things that are easier when you do that become more friction laden if you don't have that. Availability of tech talent is another one. I believe Monero is predominantly C++. I could be wrong on that, but I know for sure Pirate and Zcash are, because they derive from the original Satoshi code. And Rust is a more modern language. It's a memory safe language where we can safely change it without worrying that we're going to introduce bugs in the other part of the system. In looking at BTC, and one of the questions that the Maxis had, which I think is a very valid one, is why didn't you just build it on BTC? And as Yoga said, you can't stuff a Model T engine in a horse, and you can't put Tesla auto drive on a 57 Chevy. And it's just like it's brittle. I learned C++ in college 25 years ago. And so with Rust, you just, you can't break it in as many ways. Punch cards were a very vulnerable way to program a computer, and drag and drop software tools with formal verification are a very safe way. So technology moves on.
And by the way, can I just a tiny advertisement for Rust, okay, in case people haven't heard about it or don't understand what it is. And there was that whole you remember when Zuckerberg got dragged in front of the Congress, for having the audacity to create a crypto, and one of the Congress people was trying to show his educated eruditeness by bagging on Rust, and was saying, like, how come you guys are using an untested, unproven language, which is a funny thing in itself, but it showed how much the guy knew. If you look at it today, Diem was the first iteration of Facebook's crypto, and Libra, whatever, is it's all Rust code. Okay, if you look at Amazon's venture into crypto, it's Rust code. If you're looking at most current implementations to Microsoft's operating system, to changes in the Linux operating system, it's all Rust code.
Wow.
So because it's memory safer than C++.
That's cool.
So again, it's today's tech.
Yes.
It's not the tech that, Max and I, as old as we are, it's not that tech that we're learning in college. Okay.
Now, you shared something with me that I didn't realize, but last Friday's attack interview on you guys, I didn't know they were playing the mute button game. So they were muting you so that you could.
Yeah. So this is one of those things where, they muted the room, and then when I try to rebuttal, you just click. I know how to unclick the mute, but but it was getting clicked. So again, it's one of those things where it's like, it was the whole thing. Look, it was like a Bitcoin bro drive-by. Okay. And it's fine. And it's, circus. Okay. Let the court of the public opinion decide. Okay. Who were the assholes.
They did. But let me tell you this, for those of you who missed it, here's what came to mind to me. I remember when I went to college, University of Iowa, I went through I didn't want to, but I had a bunch of buddies who were rushing to go into a fraternity. And so I went in there, and what I found, like at the first, I got accepted into this fraternity, and the first night, and he literally was a 6th year senior who was like King frickin' Tut, walks in disparaging all of the pledges and everything. He's a 6th year senior. So when I witnessed last Friday night what happened, to me, in my mind, I went there. I was like, these are like 9th year seniors that are just treating you guys like pledges, and just wanting to kick you while you're down. But it wasn't even that you were down. It was just that these guys were they were 9th year seniors. And people who are 9th year seniors, their futures don't turn out too well because pride cometh before the fall. And so I think you guys handled it with elegance and grace, and I applaud you for that. And we got a lot of fodder out of that we'll be using, not to be able to go back and go na poo poo. No. But to be able to refute when nobody on the other end is hitting the mute button. So up yours, Hodl Bunch. Bring on the epic. Okay, I want to, before we wrap this up, I want to make a couple of announcements here. I really, really, really do hope and invite you guys tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to go live with Enrique, and it is going to be a very non-epic related show, but I think it's going to be a show that is going to highly impact a lot of human beings out there. We're going to open ourselves up, be a little bit vulnerable, for the benefit of everybody. So, it is not, don't expect coming here and talking a lot about Epic Cash, but we are going to talk about crypto related to the subject that we are going to present, because it's right to do that. So I wanted to announce that is tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And I am so
looking forward to that.
And I am so excited. Goosebumps excited, if you could see me. Is
awesome.
There's a guy who came into Epic Cash, the community, who was kind of one of these, not nose in the air guy. He's always been very respectful and such, but he really just cynical to what Epic Cash was all about. But instead of coming in like the D-bags did last Friday night and just like ha 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 and mock and everything, no, this guy, and his name is Captain Pie. Captain Pie went in and he started asking questions, and he started asking more questions, and he went down the Epic Cash rabbit hole, and it took him a month. And then he took the personal time to be able to go back and try to articulate in a very, very accessible way the epicness of Epic Cash. And he wrote a paper that is so brilliant. I have distributed it to dozens of people who have all come back and said, I get it now. It's awesome. So I have Captain Pie on this coming Wednesday evening at 7 p.m., and we are going to go through his paper together. And I invite you all there. It is going to be epic. And
it's going to be awesome.
It's just, cool. I'm so damned excited, guys. So that's all my announcements. Enrique, do you want to close tonight?
Yeah, sure. I just want to add something. Lately, I've been talking to a lot of people who've never been into crypto, and explained what Epic is, and they see the value in what was created and what's being done here. And moving forward, as I look around in terms of what's going on in the world, with the monetary system, regulations, all sorts of things, it's gonna get extremely harder for regular people to succeed in either business or whatever venture they go through, precisely because of these factors. So we're going to see a lot of new people, and like Yoga mentioned, coming into crypto, and it's important that they have the right tools to make the decisions on where to put their money or where to invest. And so I think we're at a point where, a lot of people are gonna flood into the space, and this is a great opportunity for all of them.
And
So
Enrique, you and I share a certain lounge called the Kryptonaires Lounge, which why we got there, who knows, but we were invited, and it's a small group of people who absolutely were crushing us 2.5 months ago when we started talking about epic trash, as they say. And I'm pretty sure all of them now are invested in Epic Cash, and it's really kind of fun to see how the mood has changed in there. And it's
awesome. Understandable at first, because like when you're in your traditional cryptos, you kind of look at a small cap coin and you're like, you immediately dismiss it, but once you start to learn about it, you see the value, so it's just things that happen, but they're smart people, and they're looking into it. So
no, they're very, very, very smart people, and I have appreciated their pivot. So if they are watching, and I know some probably are, I appreciate your pivot, and thanks for hanging in there with us, and at least allowing us to continue to talk about it, not shutting down the Epic Cash conversation in there. So I think those are going to be the same. I think those are going to be the same people who are going to be very, very grateful in several years that a couple nut jobs like you and I came in and started talking about this $5 million micro cap coin. So with that, Max, you wanna end the show? He may already have.
Or not.
Okay, guys. Well, I'm grateful for everyone in the chat. Thank you for coming. I think this is going to be a show that people are going to want to share with others. We covered a lot, and there's so much to be excited about. I know that, I don't ever go back and watch my own shows ever. And I doubt I will this one, but if I were going to watch one, it would probably be this one, because especially that opening, Enrique, you kicked it in the teeth, and thank you for doing this this data poll every week and reviewing it. So until next Friday, everyone, we'll see you. But I sure hope you join us tonight at 7 p.m. Enrique and me, and I think you're really going to like the show. With that, guys,